Reminder to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the guild and the Discord while you're down there. Hello people, and welcome back to a news review. This week there are actually a good number of cards. Not the new black gold or collab that people have been speculating about. I'm sure that'll come, next week or in a bit. I think it'll still come in the near future, but for now we have the SR of Egyptian gods, some buffs to old cards, and also a couple of free cards that may or may not be useless. So let's get right into it. First off, we have the SR of the Egyptian gods, which basically makes them, usable maybe. The Egyptian gods were never like standard good leaders. They were more of like speed teams, but I doubt they'll be able to beat the standard parry speed comp where you had your attack and your recovery, and then your recovery back into your attack, and then Terry does a billion damage. Not literally, I don't think, but that's the standard speed comp. If you want to check it out, they're basically the comp I use in all the shorts that I just clear old ultimate stage in the LR pass for. But enough about that. For the leader skill, basically it's the same for all attributes here, so just replace the attribute. This image right here of Seth is just for him. Replace, the attribute for literally every other card. It basically just works with direct damage dealt to enemies is 3.5 times. On both sides, that will be multiplied twice, and then also you ignore attribute relation. For their SR team skill, they ignore Enchanted Runestone Shield, Initial Shield, Duet Trio, Quartet, and Quintet Elemental Shield, and also upon activating their active for the first time each round, then their skill CD is -6, and their skill CD is just 6. So basically, you get 1 free activation per round, which will be fine until you meet an enemy that is 2 health bars, and then you're in pain. Once again, the same for all 5 attributes. There's some buffs here, I believe, for maybe not in this section. No, not yet. But for their SR skill, which is where you tap on your Draconic, it restores the board to normal, ignores Puzzle Shield for members of the leader's attribute, and then according to the number of runestones of the leader's attribute upon the completion of the last runestone movement, combo count increases. I'm not quite sure how this is useful. Maybe finally they're trying to get your active skill direct damage to bypass combo shields now, but that never, or rather that worked for a bit and then it didn't work, and now it doesn't work. For their actives, they have 2 actives, basically a combination of their previous 2 VR forms. The first active is Explode non-attribute runestones to deal a whatever attribute they are to all enemies. Turn all runestones into enchanted runestones of the corresponding member's race in each column, and for each runestone turn, deal a whatever damage of 1 million to all enemies, and for 1 round, the attribute's members attack and recovery times 2. So basically, same as for a good damage cannon, a relatively good board clearing kind of ability, and also now it generates race runestones. For the second active, it alters the attributes of all enemies into the card's counter attribute until they are defeated. For 1 round, the whatever attribute members ignore fixed combo shield and defense as well. So, I mean, if you stack up everything, their direct damage can bypass a lot of stuff, but you can stack it up the same way in the in the Terry speed team comp. So I think these cards are fine. I don't think they'll be actual leaders. They'll be speed leaders, but once again, I don't think they can beat the Terry comp just because he's just that good, and this team does need the initial cooldown. You need initially 6 rounds for them to get ready before you get the theoretically infinite activation. Moving right along will be the buffs, or quote-unquote buffs, to the old cards. The Norse gods and the Witches Reborn are getting AR, which is not a new system, but a new method to get to the system. Basically, previously, for the other cards that have AR'd in the past, you beat the Traveler's Memory stage to get to their AR, but now you have special items. I'm not quite sure what they are, but I think it'll just be, pretty easy to get these items. There's no details on here, really. these just add stats. They're quite good, you know, for their own team. Just adding stats. Some special mentions here for the witches. Cassandra adds your recovery, Media adds your attack, and Cersei adds your HP. This is gonna be so good for Hideyoshi. Like, just Earth humans HP basic value plus 800 on all 6. That's gonna be like 4,800 basic value, which is a lot. So this card will probably become the new Earth human like HP booster, which is quite nice. Next up is the free cards that you can get through just events. First up, we have Pyramid, which you can get through the puzzle challenge. Seems like your runestones become puzzle pieces, and then you combine the puzzle to actually do something, which is a unique mechanic that we haven't seen before, so that's quite good. Probably, though, if you bring a time tunnel card, then you can just clear it, like, really easily. For the card itself, it is Light Machina CD6. The character becomes disabled and no skill attack can be launched after 6 rounds, so this basically kills the card, similar to some other stuff we've seen before. During the countdown, the character's attack and recovery times 3 for 6 rounds. The character's damage will be dealt regardless of combo seal, and refresh the protective shield each round. This card is theoretically fine. Ignoring combo seal is a rare skill. It's just a little weird since currently there are no Machina cards that have a protective shield like on their leader or team skill. So this card is kind of weird in this state right now. Maybe, you know, the future cards, this is made for a future card, a future Machina that does have a protective shield. Who knows? Next up is a challenge mission card, Iris, Dark Human, CD6. Explode the columns below the character and the neighboring members to generate enchanted dark runestones. Or amount of attack base value of the neighbors will be lowered to 0 and adds 2.5 times the deducted attack into its own attack. This card is, I would say it's like, I put it in bordering the trash, right? It's like, you know, there's so much human bloat and this card doesn't really seem to do anything. You just get 3 columns of dark runestones, and I think that's like fine, but cards that can like, it doesn't even steal all the attack, which would be fine because sometimes only one card can launch an attack, but this is like a half measure in every single thing that it does. And with the amount of human members, the amount of good human members, this card I don't think is gonna ever be used. Next up is the Battle Pass card, Basti and Earth Beast this time. CD8 for 1 round, only the first batch of runestones can be dissolved. Runestones can be dissolved by landing 2 or more of them in the first batch. The character's attack times 8 and ignores defense and puzzle shield. When enclosed areas are in play, the character's skill CD -6. This is the 3rd ever beast to ignore puzzle shield. One of them previously being collab exclusive, so you don't have Veronica, I believe that's what this first card is called. Then be sure to go ahead and grab Basti. And last card here is actually not on the news. Well, actually, we'll go over some buffs that are kind of useless. So the Immortality of Egypt series basically got buffed to work with well, it previously worked with Anubis, but now it also works with the SR forms of the Egyptian gods. If there is Anubis or the corresponding Egyptian god in the team of the corresponding attribute. For the water one, you enter a hyper state. For the fire one, you ignore puzzle shield. For the earth one, you get an attack boost. For the light one, you explode the full board instead of half the board randomly. And for the dark one, you have a full board conversion. That's right. I had to read those like a little bit slow because these are just very underwhelming effects and you need like 2 cards to activate them. Well, that's, you know, what's in here. The other thing that I wanted to go over is the last card, which you might see over here is kind of weird. Doesn't have a cardboard. That's because this card I couldn't find an image for on the wiki. This is actually a new evoking shop card that will be coming in April. This is an Earth Human of Flores. EP6, you can tap a runestone on the magic circle of elements to turn that runestone into enchanted human Earth Runestones, and it is a stat clear. And for 1 round, its own attack times 6. Earth Human presently has no other stat clear other than this, so this will be very good. For Hideyoshi, I would like to say, but Hideyoshi, a lot of his stuff depends on the stats you have. So, I'm not quite sure. Well, I mean, if it needs to be used, it'll still be used, but it just, you can't, like, it clashes with a lot of stuff, is what I'm trying to say. Another thing is, there's actually a few events here. One of them is returning, which is the, Ultimate stage, Oceanus, Monster of the Seas. This card, grab one of them. He's not, you know, Water God. Haven't really used him. Maybe used him once. Not that good, not that bad. And the returning Transmigration of Savage Prey Rebuilt. This will be just a longer Transmigration stage, which sucks a lot. It's of Bunyip. If you haven't got Bunyip, which he did come around pretty recently. If you haven't got him, please do. Excellent beast card. There's Florus I was talking about. And, of course, the monthly challenge. Videos on that out probably in the middle of the month, as usual. And returning bi-weeklies of useless cards. That is it for this week's news review. If you liked it, please leave a like. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments down below. And if you like in general, please subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. See ya!